All right, welcome. So I'm gonna share with you just a quick trade that I just put in place right now, and it's I trade on this stock all the time, and so when the markets are down like right now, I think this is a good time to buy in on something like this. So I am going to share the screen with you, and so basically to kind of give you an idea of how I look at um, what I'm doing with my investment money, there's two things really. So one, I hold the majority of my money long term, invested in uh, invested in stocks and crypto long term. So 95 to 96% of my money I just hold in investments. But if you're joining me for the first time on this, I trade with about 4 to 5% of my money. And last Thursday, I placed a trade that made 15.7%, and I just placed a trade right now that I think it's probably going to do 20%. Is my guess on this one, and I'm going to share with you the charts here of how I actually trade, and I'm going to show you the stock that I actually trade. So I'm a big fan of MicroStrategy. If you don't know anything about them, you should get educated on them. They're the largest buyer of Bitcoin on the planet as far as a corporation goes, and they bought some upwards of 25 billion dollars worth of Bitcoin, and so I trade the stock that I'm about to show you right now of how I trade and the charts that I use to decide whether I'm going to buy something or sell something. And so with MicroStrategy, I happen to trade it's called a derivative, which is like another form of MicroStrategy, which basically means what I trade when MicroStrategy goes up, it goes up by twice what MicroStrategy goes up, and when it goes down, it goes down by about twice what MicroStrategy goes down by. It's called 2x, right? 2x leverage, right? So I'm going to show you exactly what it is that I'm doing so you can see it and actually see how I trade. Now, this is not for you to go buy the stock or do this right now. This is just me educating you. This is not financial advice. This is just me sharing what I'm doing. And when I learn something and I learn something that's working for me, I like to share it. Okay. And then I'll tell you the resources if you're interested in this of how you can go get access. James, what's up, man? Happy New Year to you, buddy. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. James, what do you want to know more of? Tell me, and I can give you more of it. Okay. So I'm going to show you the trade right now. I'm going to explain it to you. If you want to learn this stuff, it's not something that, in terms of the software, I don't have my own software at this point. It's being developed. So I'm going to show you what I use right now to trade. And then if you want it, you can go check these resources out. I get nothing from referring you to these people. I just think they're great. And it's helped me. So I like to pass along good works. Okay. So without further ado, I'm going to get into the charts to show you the trade I just placed and show you how I'm going to make money on it. I'm pretty much certain on this trade that I will make money on it, but we will see. So here comes the charts. Okay. Great. So this is a trading chart. Okay. And if I could make it bigger here for you, hopefully you guys can see this. So basically here on the trading chart, like this tells me what to buy and what to sell. Okay. And so when to buy and when to sell. So if you look down below, what I'd like you to do right now is just write down a couple things to make this super simple for you. Number one, what I'm trading is it's a 2x long MicroStrategy, and its symbol is MSTU. So if you went into like Robinhood right now, which is an exchange, and you just typed in MSTU, you'd see this stock. Okay. The reason it's 2x long MicroStrategy, long means it's betting that MicroStrategy is going to go up. The reason that this is 2x long is it mirrors what MicroStrategy does. So if MicroStrategy goes up 5%, this is likely to go up 10%. If MicroStrategy goes down 5%, this is likely to go down 10%. So you can make really good money trading this. I'm not recommending that you do it because there's a lot of learning that goes into it, but I'm sharing what I'm doing so you can make your own decision for you. So I bought this stock today. And by the way, like in terms of MicroStrategy, I'm trading a form of this right now that you see on the charts. In terms of MicroStrategy, I got into MicroStrategy before the stock split, early in the year. Some of my positions in MicroStrategy that I bought in early are up 500%. And some of my MicroStrategy positions are up a couple 100%. So overall, my positions in MicroStrategy are about a triple, somewhere around there right now, depending on where the stock's trading. So I've done extremely well on MicroStrategy, okay? Extremely well. And I've also done extremely well on Bitcoin. I bought into Bitcoin. My first Bitcoin I ever bought was at $3,000, guys, way back in 2018, okay? So I buy Bitcoin, I buy MicroStrategy, I buy Tesla, okay? And I've owned them all, Tesla for the longest. I bought Tesla back in 2016 or 17. Bitcoin I bought back in 2018, and MicroStrategy, my first share of MicroStrategy I bought back in 2020. It was a small amount, like $5,000 worth. And now early in 2024, I bought a lot of MicroStrategy. Okay. So if you're wondering what I trade in long-term and what I hold long-term, it's Tesla, it's Bitcoin, it's MicroStrategy. My largest position right now is MicroStrategy. My second largest is Bitcoin. And my third largest is Tesla. Okay. So that's what I hold long-term. Now, what I trade is I trade this stock right here, which is a version of MicroStrategy. Okay. And if you look to the top left, if you can see it, it says 2x long MicroStrategy, right? MSTR means MicroStrategy. So I'm betting on this stock that when I buy it, if MicroStrategy goes up 5%, this should go up about 10%. If MicroStrategy goes up 10% in a day, this will go up 20%. But if it goes down 10%, it'll go down 20%. If MicroStrategy goes down 10%, this 2x version will go down 20%. Make sense? So what I'm doing in terms of my trading, it is risky when you don't know what you're doing, okay? Again, about 4%, maybe 5% of my money I trade with. 95% I invest long-term, and that's how I play the game, all right? I've done extremely well on investing, and I've picked winners over the last several years. And so now I'm trading, and I'm showing you what I'm doing with trading, okay? So it's just a fun game, and you can make some good returns, all right? So if you see this chart, all right, this chart, to give credit where credit is due, if you want to go get access to graphs and things like this, go to TradingView. TradingView will give you access to this stuff. That's number one. Number two, shout out to James at Invest Answers. I have no affiliate fees with this. I get no commissions if you go there to sign up. It's literally passing on good works. The script that's plugged in here that gets you this graph line that's yellow and blue and yellow, if you see on the screen, that's as a result of Invest Answers. So I take TradingView, I plug in Invest Answers scripts, and I get these charts. Okay. Now, if you look to the right, you'll kind of have to squint your eyes to the right. But if you look at the win percentage all the way to the right, if you're on your iPhone, like really look at this because this is cool. You'll see the win percentage on this over the last 60 days or so is 100% win, which means if you're placing the trades following these charts, you're at 100% win ratio. So that's the win ratio. So the degree of likelihood of you winning on these trades, of me winning on these trades, is super, 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 super high. Like super high. Okay. And if you're just to follow these charts, like if I'll just say this for myself because I'm not giving financial advice. If I just follow these charts, I make money. Simple. Okay. All right. So how do I follow the charts and how do I make money? Number one, my number one rule of trading is know something about the stock. I know a lot about MicroStrategy. I know a lot about Michael Saylor. I've been in Bitcoin since 2018. I've been in MicroStrategy. My first shares ever purchased was 2020. I've been following Michael Saylor, who is the founder of MicroStrategy for the last 5 years. I've watched over 1,000 hours of study and video on this stuff, so I understand the stock, okay? I've also watched the trading charts for months, studying, watching, seeing how it's doing, so I get a feel for how it moves, right? So I understand the volatility and I understand how it moves. Next thing is, if I were to begin trading today and I wanted to just learn how to trade and just do it, you can trade with paper money, guys. So literally, if you go into TradingView, there is an option to trade with paper money. So you don't even need to trade with real money. So to learn something, you could just trade with paper. If you lose money, you don't care. If you make money, you don't care. You just learn. And my recommendation is, if you're actually going to trade something, nobody recommended to me that I trade MicroStrategy. This was my own discovery. And again, I'm trading a form of MicroStrategy, which is a 2x long on MicroStrategy, which is betting that it's going to go up. So when MicroStrategy goes up 10%, this goes up about 20%. Make sense? And you will see, if you understand the stock of MicroStrategy, which, by the way, if you don't know what MicroStrategy is, MicroStrategy owns $42 billion worth of Bitcoin. That's what they hold on their balance sheet. So this stock can go up 10% on a day and down 10% on a day. So when I'm trading it on 2x leverage, it's not uncommon to have a day where you can make 10%. And it's not uncommon to have a day where you can get into a trade. Like on Thursday, I made 15.7%. I believe on this trade that I just placed, and I'm going to show you the trade I placed, I believe it'll turn into a 20% trade. Okay. So here's the deal, right? So I know something about the stock MicroStrategy. I trade a 2x on it, means I'm betting that it's going to go up. And when it goes up, I make 2x. I can also bet that it can go down. And when it goes down, I can make 2x as well. So when you look to the right-hand column, all the way to the right, if you see this chart over here, all the way to the right, if you look, it says there's a win ratio. You see the green writing to the right? So there's a win ratio that says 100%. So it says you're 100% likely, if you trade this based on the charts, you're 100% likely to win. So I put a fudge factor in there and go, let's say I'm 90% likely to win. Okay, let's just call it 90%. But the ROI potential, if you look at it, is huge. All right. So it's like trading this month. My goal is to make a minimum of 50% trading this month in the next 30 days. And I think I can make it 100%. Again, last Thursday it was 15.7%. So I'm doing, I'm doing about, if this trade works out, it might be another 15-20%, and then I'll trade a couple times when the holidays aren't here. I'll be able to trade several times a week and make even more. Okay, that's my goal. All right. So here's how to read the chart. Okay, it's really simple. All right. So a buy signal comes in. If you look at the green arrows here on the chart, a buy signal comes in, and so one of the signals is these green arrows here. They give you a signal to actually buy. All right, and so when you see the green arrows, it's the first signal to go buy, but it doesn't mean go buy right away, right? It's just the first signal. It says buy. Okay. The second signal is if you look right below the two green arrows, it's like a green triangle, right? If you look right below the green triangles and you trace it all the way down to this other line where you have like this yellow line down below, you'll see that the yellow line is below the green dotted line. And so when the yellow line goes below the green dotted line, that's the second signal to buy. Okay. And then finally, there's a third signal to buy. Again, if you want to learn about something like this, go to TradingView, and then go check out Invest Answers, and then go follow a guy by the name of James, and he can teach you more on stuff like this. Okay. I can teach you what I'm doing, but I got to give credit to whose software this is. It's not my software. Okay. I'm in development of my own software on some other things that I'll be sharing, because in 30 days, I'm releasing a totally new money platform. It's not sophisticated trading. It's not stuff that's above people's third grade or fifth grade level of understanding money, because that's most of society. Mine's going to be fun. It's going to be simple. It's going to be informative. It's going to be games. It's going to be playing around with money. If you want to trade paper, you can trade real money. It's going to be fun. So mine's coming out in 30 days. Okay, so stay tuned. But this is for people who are a little bit more advanced that want to trade on a daily basis. And so here, those are the three indicators. So when the three indicators come in, the third one, again, the first one is the green triangles. You see that? So that's the first indicator to buy. The second one is below the green dotted line on this chart. You go trace it all the way down, go down below the green triangles, and down below you see a green dotted line and you see a yellow graph below that. So the moment the yellow line breaks the green dotted line, that's the second buy signal. And the third buy signal is, see where the yellow turns blue? See that? So the yellow line all of a sudden shifts to blue. And the moment that shift happens, you pull the trigger. And that's the third indicator. So I pulled the trigger. Right now, you can see the stock sitting at 9.9. I got in a little late. I got in at 9.87. So I'm up a tiny bit right now. It might drop by the end of the day. But the point is, the sell signal. So until there's I will get a sell signal at some point, probably on Monday or maybe Tuesday, to exit the position. And then I will exit the position at a gain. My guess is this thing's going to be up at least 10%. Who knows? Monday we could wake up and it drops more. And also the end of the month. When's the end of the month? Because a lot of these fund managers rebalance their portfolios at the end of the month. So you got to be careful of sell-offs and things like that. So the end of the month is the 31st. So hopefully Monday it'll spike up, or Tuesday I can get out of the trade at a profit. Okay. And that's it. So that's the simplicity of it. So I entered into the position, and I'm going to be tracking my performance over the month of kind of the end of December through January. And you heard it here first. My goal is to make 50%. I'll share the trades that I'm making. My actual real goal is to make 100% in 30 days, but my minimum target's 50. So we'll go with a 50, a low end. Just like, hey, let's go for 50%, okay, in 30 days. And then I'll show you my trades, okay? One of the challenges I run into with trading sometimes, and I'm fixing this with a software that I'm developing, is you have to be watching the charts all the time. So, for example, with this particular software, I wasn't watching the charts. I was in a meeting and I came out and I could have bought a little bit lower than I did. Like I could have bought like about 2% lower than I did. And instead, I bought about 2% higher than I should have. So if I had an automatic trading software that literally the moment the signal came on to buy, it just scooped it up and bought, I would have bought in for 2% lower. I'm not concerned about buying in a little bit above, because I know that typically when I do make gains on trades like this, my gains are typically between 10 and 15%. Make sense? Okay. So that's it. If you're just joining us, I'm showing you the trading software. I'm trading a form of MicroStrategy. The difference is when MicroStrategy goes up by, say, 5%, this goes up double. It goes up 10%. When MicroStrategy goes down by 5%, this goes down by double, 10%. Make sense? So I'm trading a stock that I know of. The actual symbol on this stock is MSTU. It's MSTU, so you can go look it up. MSTU. You can read about it. Again, I'm not recommending you go trade this. It's on 2x leverage, and so it's risky. But with my with the softwares that I use of TradingView, they're not mine, and Invest Answers software, I plug the two together, and I get this win ratio that's close to 100% on the trades. And so that's it. And so I had to go through watching a lot of different stocks to learn. Like I started looking at Tesla, about trading that. I looked at S&P 500. I looked at the NASDAQ. I looked at Bitcoin. I looked at Solana. I looked at all different kinds of things to trade. And I watched the charts. And then I watched this one. I'm like, this is the one to trade. And I watched the performance for months. I dabbled in and traded. I've been trading on it for a while, but I dabbled in and traded here and there. And I learned. And so now I know and understand how this trades, and I know to trust the charts. And anytime I've gone against the charts, is the time where I have lost some money. So I don't trade on emotion. I don't trade on hunches. Again, I think this thing will go up 15, 20% from where it's at, but I don't know. So all I do is I take my money. The moment I get a buy signal, I buy. I take the emotion out of it. When I get a sell signal, I sell. I'm in and out. That's it. Okay. So that, my friends, is the game. So what questions do you have on trading? What questions do you have on Bitcoin? What questions do you have on MicroStrategy? What questions do you have on Tesla? Those are the three areas that I invest in. And those are my heavy positions. And then I trade with about 4 to 5% of my money. Right now, I'm only trading one stock. It's a form, or what's called a derivative of MicroStrategy, and it trades on 2x leverage. Okay, so I should say it tracks 2x the performance of MicroStrategy. Okay. So that's what it does. So if MicroStrategy goes up, it goes up 2x of MicroStrategy. If it goes down, it goes down 2x. Make sense? Okay. So what questions do you have? Again, if you're just joining us, I shared with you my Thursday trade. On last Thursday, I made 15.7% off the trade. This one, my goal is to make 20% off the trade. Maybe it'd be 15, maybe it'd be 10. It's possible I could lose money, but I don't think I'm going to lose money off this trade. So there you have it. So I'd love to hear questions that you might have. And somewhere I can get in to see. We got James in here. What's up, James? Yeah, MicroStrategy is stock, James. It's actually a stock. And if you go, yeah, so James, I do on my trading, I just use MSTU, which is like a derivative. It's like a derivative of MicroStrategy. So a bunch of guys got together like, oh, we're gonna create a stock that mirrors MicroStrategy, and except the performance, the goal is to make 2x when it goes up, and when it goes down, you lose 2x, basically. Okay. That's their goal, is to make 2x. It's not that they necessarily make 2x, but I've been tracking the performance, and when you're trading it, it's about a 2x, okay, up or a 2x down. And in terms of MicroStrategy, it is a stock. And just so you know, if you don't know anything about it, you should definitely learn something about it. And the sequence of how you learn about MicroStrategy is, one, you need to first learn about Bitcoin. Okay. Recent statistics that James from Invest Answers was sharing with me when I was watching his video, it's like 1 in 500 people actually understand Bitcoin. So you have like 1 in 500 that understand Bitcoin, maybe 2 in 500. And then, so it's such a small percent that understand Bitcoin. And then of people who own Bitcoin, now this is of people who own Bitcoin, like 1 or 2 out of 50 people actually understand MicroStrategy. And so if you don't know what Bitcoin is fully, you should get educated on Bitcoin first. And then you can go take a look at MicroStrategy, because MicroStrategy is a company that's buying Bitcoin. Make sense? And so you can understand what it is that they're doing. And if you look at what MicroStrategy is doing, I believe it's actually the most intelligent financial move of the entire last 100 years. And I believe that this will be talked about for the next 100 to 200 years. And I believe that what MicroStrategy, what Michael Saylor's doing in terms of buying Bitcoin at the rate he's buying it, is the smartest thing that's ever been done in the history of finance since I've been alive. And so if you understand what he's doing, you're going to understand and witness what I believe is the greatest financial move to be made that we've ever seen. And that's a big statement, but go study it and you'll see why. And if you want to know a little bit of the history of MicroStrategy, I'll give you the history. If you want to know, I just put it in the chat, and I just want to make sure you want to know about this. But the history of MicroStrategy is basically in 2020, they are a software company, and they have been a software company for decades. They basically provide like business intelligence applications and software to companies. So this company's been around for a while. They do about $500 million a year in revenue. So when you compare it to a Microsoft, they're small, right? And in 2020, when COVID hit, the CEO, Michael Saylor, was kind of looking at the situation. And when he was looking at their $250 million that they had sitting in reserves, it sits in their treasury, actually. So they have it sitting in their treasury. So when you have money that sits in your treasury, like large corporations do, you have that money there, it sits there, and you want to earn a rate of return on it. And so when people have money sitting in their treasury or their reserves, right, that 250 million he had sitting there is earning a couple percentage points, right? And so what happened was he was looking at what happened with the money printing, that was taking place during COVID. And so as he was looking at this, he's like, wow, we're printing so much money. And if you look from 2020 to 2022, you can fact check this to make sure it's exact. But from 2020 to 2022, we printed 42% more money. Okay. So that's like 14% on average a year. Okay. So we printed a lot of money. And so if you understand how that works, like when we print money, it's basically like an invisible tax. So if you have money sitting in your bank account and the government prints more money, essentially there's like this little the inflation fairy, you know, who comes in, like the tooth fairy. The inflation fairy comes in and just steals your money. You don't know that you're losing money, but you're actually losing purchasing power. So when the government prints more money, you lose purchasing powers, because when there's more supply of something, the value of what you have goes down. So when the money supply goes up, the value of your dollar and your purchasing power goes down. Make sense? Okay. And so that's basically what happens. And so what happened during COVID is, like, you know, every year since the beginning of the United States, since we had money, like paper money, since we've had paper money, since the beginning of paper money, the US has printed an average of about like 6.7% more money every single year. So we do this like clockwork, and you probably are not aware of it, that we do this like clockwork every year. So what that basically means is, if we're printing 6.7%, let's call it 7% more money every year, then when you make 7% on your home going up, or you make 7% on your investment, you're actually not making anything. You're making 0%, right? Because when more money's printed, your value of your purchasing power goes down. So if we print 7% more money, you need to make 7% more in your returns on your assets to actually keep pace. Make sense? Okay. And so that's why when you see like properties going up by 7% a year or whatever, if it's not really going up by 7% a year, because the money supply is going up by 7% a year. So when you see a house going up in value by 7%, you're not making any money. You're just keeping pace with the actual real cost of money. Okay. So when COVID hit and we started printing more than 14% a year, that means you would have to make 14% to keep up with the printing of money. So if you made 14% on your stocks that year and we printed 14% more money, you made 0%. Right? So this has become the fundamental problem. And then those of you who are sitting in cash, let's say you had $100,000 in cash. In 2020, when we printed $100,000 in cash, you're $100,000 because you lost 14%. We printed 14% more money that year, the government. So that means your 100,000 just became worth 86,000. And then next year we printed 14% more, it became 14% less, and then 14% more or less. And so your 100 grand that was sitting there over the course of 3 years really became worth like 50K. So when you went out to go buy stuff, so let's say it was $1 that became 50 cents, or $100,000 that was worth 50,000. When you went to go buy more stuff with your money, you're like, why does it feel like my money's not buying what it used to? It doesn't feel like that. It's actually true. It's not buying what it used to. Make sense? So that's what happens when we print more money. So what happened was Michael Saylor saw this happening, and he was smart enough, because if you read up on him, and I see, James, that you're reading on him, which is cool. Yeah, Bitcoin could reach 13 million in 2045 for sure. I think that's a definite that it will. And so basically, Michael Saylor decided, like, we're sitting on 250 million of cash, right? That's earning a couple percentage points. Now, if you can relate this, you can relate this to your family and your own money. It doesn't mean you have to have 250 million to relate to this. So he's sitting there going, I'm sitting on $250 million of capital that's earning a couple percentage points. And he's like, if we keep printing money during COVID in 2020, 14% more a year and 14% more a year and 14% more a year, his 250 million it will be like a melting iceberg. His money will melt. Now, he wouldn't know it's melting because it doesn't, his account balance doesn't go down. His purchasing power, it's worth less. The moment we print more money, it's worth less. So his power when he purchases, his money doesn't have enough power, as much power anymore. Hence his purchasing power goes down. So he's like, the hell with this. I'm sitting on 250 mil. I'm not going to earn 2 or 3% a year. If we're printing 14% more money, I have to earn 14% more every single year just to stay afloat. So his decision was really simple for him. He goes, I'm just going to take 250 million and I'm going to put it all into Bitcoin. So if you could imagine this, right? You have a guy who's an engineer, an astrophysicist, graduated from MIT, and he decides that he's going to take all the reserve capital they have, the 250 million, that it's taken them decades to build up this reserve capital chest, right? To build this up. And in an instant, he's going to take those decades of work and put all 250 million into Bitcoin. Now, you could look at it and go, well, a lot of people are going, this is the riskiest, this is the dumbest move ever. There are many people who thought that. I was like, this guy's a genius. Back in 2020, I was like, this guy's a genius. In fact, in 2018, I bought Bitcoin. In 2019, I bought a lot of Bitcoin. And as 2020 hit and I started seeing what Michael Saylor's doing, I bought more Bitcoin. And so if you watch what he was doing, he was basically going, I'm not going to sit on $250 million that's earning 2 to 3% or 4% a year. And we're printing 14% more money a year. If I'm making 3% and we're printing 14% more money, I'm losing 11% a freaking year, man. So most people are going, this is crazy. What's he doing? He's risking things. And he was going, no, I'm like, if I don't make more than 14%, we're going to be out of business. 5, 6, 7 more years of this, we're going to be out of business. We're going to lose the $250 million. So he put it all into Bitcoin. And then what happened was he bought more Bitcoin. And as he bought Bitcoin down at $12,000, $14,000, $20,000, as Bitcoin kept going up, he kept taking more money, buying more Bitcoin, taking more money, buying more Bitcoin. And how would he do this? He would go get loans. And the idea is if I can borrow money at a very, very low percentage, and he was borrowing at a very, very low percentage, like below 1% he was borrowing money at. So like if I could borrow it at a very, very low percentage, and then over the 4 or 5 years that I borrow it, I can make 20, 40, 60, 100%, 200%. And if you look at the returns on Bitcoin over the last 4 years, 8 years, go look at the returns, right? So if I could borrow at such a low percent and then go make this kind of money, like I could put my company in a really good position. And so in 2020, they bought whatever they bought, $250 million, then they bought some more, $1 billion more, they bought several billion, right? And then from 2020 to 2024, if you watch this is significant. Over that time frame, or that 4 years, they bought about $10 billion more of Bitcoin. 10 billion, okay? So they bought 10 billion. Now watch this and go fact check this, because this is over 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks recently, maybe over 8 weeks. Over the last 8 weeks, now remind you, from 2020 to 2024, his company bought 10 billion in Bitcoin. Over the last 8 weeks, they bought $15 billion worth of Bitcoin. 15 billion additional. So now you have a company that their main reserve asset is $42 billion or $43 billion worth of Bitcoin. That's significant, guys. And so what's happening is people are recognizing this strategy that MicroStrategy has put into place. And they're recognizing that MicroStrategy, actually, if you look at the rates of return, it's actually going up more than Bitcoin. Okay. Now, most people are like, how is MicroStrategy that owns all this Bitcoin going up more than Bitcoin? This is the big question. And so if you go follow traditional media and you listen to like regular news stations, who typically on these regular news stations, not all, but most of them, they just spread false data anyway. So you don't want to really listen to traditional news. You want to listen to people who've studied it, who understand something about it. Go listen to Michael Saylor. He's the source of it. Listen to him talk about it. He's very sophisticated in how he talks about it. He's an astrophysicist and engineer, but he uses great metaphors. But you'll probably have to look up a lot of words to understand what he's doing. But in simple terms, I'll tell you what's being done, okay? And you'll get it. People are like, why Bitcoin's going up? Like Bitcoin's, I think up this year since the beginning of the year, it's up over 100%, right? So if you look at why is MicroStrategy going up more than Bitcoin? MicroStrategy since the beginning of the year, when I was looking at it like 2 weeks ago, they're up 528% since the beginning of the year. They're probably up 400% now since it's dropped a little bit in the last couple of weeks. They're up between 400 and 500% since the beginning of the year. Bitcoin's up over 100%. So why is that happening? Why are they going up by more than Bitcoin? Now, I love Bitcoin. I own Bitcoin. I also own MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy, my ROI has been much higher this year, okay? Which is why I continue to hold my money in MicroStrategy, okay? And Bitcoin as well. So why, right? And this is the question that people have. Why is MicroStrategy going up by more than Bitcoin? So it's pretty simple, all right? A company like MicroStrategy has the ability to use leverage. All right. Now, there was a great interview. Somebody was interviewing on one news station, and they said to Michael Saylor, who owns MicroStrategy, he's the founder of MicroStrategy. It's a public company. And they said to Michael Saylor, they said, it seems like what you're doing is like a Ponzi scheme. You're just getting money in, and then you're using that money to buy more Bitcoin, and you're going out and you're getting more money from people, and you're using it to buy more Bitcoin. He's like, it's not a Ponzi scheme. It's, in fact, he's using traditional leverage tools that's been used for the last couple hundred years. And so he metaphorically just track this, right? Somebody goes out and buys real estate. Do you know people who go buy real estate properties and they actually go and they borrow money to buy real estate? Okay. I know somebody like Grant Cardone goes out and he buys real estate. And when you go out and you buy real estate, you typically will go and get a loan to buy the real estate. Yeah. Makes sense, right? Then one day over the course of years, hopefully that real estate property goes up. True? So you borrow at whatever percentage points, and then over time that real estate goes up in value. And then have you ever heard where the real estate property goes up and somebody takes the gains, they take the money out of the real estate property, and then they put it into another property? It's leverage, right? You get a loan, you're leveraging the bank's money. You buy a property. The property goes up in value. You take some of the value that you got, the gains, and you roll it out. You buy another property, okay? It's been going on for years and years. So what is MicroStrategy doing? Simple. They're going out and they're getting a loan. They take the loan, they go buy Bitcoin. Simple. Just like somebody goes to get a loan and they go buy a real estate property. Same concept, right? They go and they buy Bitcoin. The idea is these loans, most of these loans are not due for 4 or 5 years. So the idea is we're going to go buy Bitcoin. We know that over every 4-year period, Bitcoin has gone up in value. So people go, well, that's risky. Bitcoin goes up and it goes down. Yeah, but he's buying it with this strategy that we're going to hold on to this Bitcoin. And the loans that are going to be repaid in the future, it's over 4 or 5 year time horizons. So the bet, and if you look at the history of Bitcoin over the last 13, 14 years or whatever it is, since 2008, longer, every 4 years, it's gone up in value. So if you're holding over a 4-year period, it's going up. And I believe, like Michael Saylor says, it's going up forever. Hold on, it's going up. There are going to be times like at the end of this bull run where it's going to go down, guys. I mean, it just went down recently, but we're still in the bull run. So it's going to shoot up this year because we're in the bull run. And like my belief is like it happens every 4 years when this happens. Okay, because this is my third one that I'm sitting through, right? It goes up and then it goes down. But if you're holding it and you continue to hold it, if you track Bitcoin's ROI since its inception, like what out there in the marketplace beats it? So what he's doing is he's going and he's getting a loan and he's buying more Bitcoin. At the end of 4 to 5 years, right? The bet is that Bitcoin's going to go up. But he's borrowing this money at such low percentage points. Some of the loans are below 1%, and some of the loans, this is going to just knock your socks off, are 0%. It's a 0% loan that he's getting. And so at the end of 5 years, or whatever the term of the loan is, the person gets their money back. And at the end of the 5 years, they get their money back, plus they get some gain by loaning him the money. That's their benefit. They get a value back in loaning the money. Not to get too into the weeds, but like the people who loan them the money, they have the option to convert into stock 4 or 5 years later, and then they get all those massive gains that took place over the last 4 to 5 years, and that's how the people who loan the money make money on it as well. Okay, that's what he's doing. That's why this stock is going to the moon and has been going to the moon. Okay. Second way that he gets money is he issues stock. Right. So one, he gets loans and buys Bitcoin. The second way is simple. He issues stock. Now, what does that mean? It's really simple. Like when you go to buy Google stock or you buy Apple stock, they had to issue stock, meaning they had to go, here is some stock. Here's some paper. Buy our paper. When you buy my stock, you will own a share in my company. Companies do this all the time, right? They issue stock. Now, most of the time when you issue more stock, when a company issues stock, they'll take that money and then they'll invest it back in the company, right? So if, like, let's say Apple were to issue more stock or Google were to issue more stock, they issue the stock, you buy the stock, like you or me, we buy the stock. They take your money and then they put it back into their company. Now, we all know how traditional companies run. When you put money back into your company, you're investing back in the company. You're maybe paying expenses in the company. You're hoping that whatever you put that money into is going to grow over time. And so when they take our money, when we buy their stock, they're investing it for longer term strategies to hopefully increase the value of the company so that the money that we invested actually grows. But there's a lag time traditionally for how that happens. But with Michael Saylor, he's not issuing the stock and taking our money and putting it into like expenses of the company or putting it into like a long-term strategy to grow the company. He's just taking your money, he's buying Bitcoin. And the whole idea is that Bitcoin is going to go up over every 4-year period. And the people who buy his stock are going to win. He's going to win because his company owns Bitcoin. And boom, his stock's going to go to the moon and Bitcoin's going to go to the moon. And that's the game plan. And that's what he's doing. And in simple terms. Okay. So how is MicroStrategy winning? It's how I just explained. They get loans and they buy Bitcoin. They issue stock and they take your money and they buy more Bitcoin. And since they've been doing it, it's working out extremely, extremely well for people on MicroStrategy stock. Now, go get educated on it. Learn about it. I'm not recommending you go buy it. It is low right now comparatively to where it's been. It was as high as 530 that it was that was trading a couple months ago, maybe 45 days ago, 60 days ago. It was trading as high as 530, and now it's back down to 320. Do I think we'll see 530 again? Absolutely. I think 100% we'll see the stock go to 530 again. So that's what, up 60 or 70% from here. It's about, that would be up 60 something percent from here. Do I think we'll see a 60% up from here? I think absolutely. Do I think we'll see 100% up from here from MicroStrategy? I think absolutely. I think we'll definitely see a double. So that means that the stock price would have to go to 640 if we have a double from where it is today, right now. Okay. So that's my prediction on MicroStrategy. I believe we'll see 800 next year, in 2025. Again, I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm just telling you what I believe on it. And I think if Bitcoin hits 150,000, then MicroStrategy should be around 800, 750 or something. If Bitcoin goes to 200,000, I think we'll see MicroStrategy break $1,000. So my goal for MicroStrategy from my own portfolio is for it to break 1,000. I would be extremely happy if it broke 1,000. I do think it will hit 800. And I think a double from here, to me, it's a layup. I think will we get to it's 324, 320, whatever now? Will we get to a 640 MicroStrategy next year? I think absolutely. So that's my prediction for what's going on. If you're just joining us earlier, I was just showing trades that I was making. So like I'll report back next week to show you if my trade made money. My goal on this trade in the next couple of days is to make 20% off of it, 15%. I made on my trade last Thursday, and I think I could make another 15 to 20% on this trade that I just made. So that's the story. I hope it helps you. If you have any questions, James, it's good to hear from you, man. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat box or ask any questions down below. I will get back to the comments myself. And I hope this helps you guys. It's fun for me to share these things. Again, I've been in these stocks. I've been in Bitcoin since 2018. I've been in Tesla earlier than that. And then I've been in MicroStrategy since the way early of the year. So if you're looking at MicroStrategy, just know that I bought in way, way earlier. I bought in before the stock split early in the year. So any bets you're making on it now, do I think we'll have a bull run? We are in the bull run. Do I think we'll MicroStrategy over the next 6 months, we'll see it increase? Yeah. Is it super volatile? Yes. If Bitcoin's volatile, MicroStrategy is more volatile. If you look at the S&P 500 index, it's got about a 15 volatility. If you look at the Bitcoin, it's got about a 60 volatility. And if you look at MicroStrategy, it's got about a 90 volatility. So MicroStrategy is more volatile than all of them. But it also gives us the opportunity to make more gains. And I would not be investing in these if I wasn't looking to be in them in the long term, particularly now, because the risk always during the bull run when you buy in is we can see big increases. And then when the bull run ends, we can see big drops. So if I were to buy MicroStrategy now, I would be looking to hold this for 4 to 5 years. And I would have to be willing to weather the storm of when it goes up a lot and then when it goes down. And for the people who get involved in Bitcoin, same thing, like when it goes up and then when it goes down. But holding it over a 4 to 5 year period to me is a safe bet, because over every 4 to 5 year period it's gone up. So 4-year period. So that's how I'd be looking at it. I would not be looking at these stocks and buying MicroStrategy or Bitcoin. I would not be looking at them from a short-term perspective. I would not be looking to get in right now and being like, hey, MicroStrategy may double in the next year, which I think it absolutely will. I would not be looking at it and go, I'm going to get in for the double and not be willing to watch it go back down to where it is. And then watch it go back over the years and surpass its high that it's going to hit in 2025, because I believe it's going to go up and up and up and up for the next decade to 2 decades. But it will go up, and there's times where it'll go massively down, and that's where people start to sell at the end of the bull run, and they get freaked out, and all the gains they made they lose, because sometimes they sell at the bottom, and then they're like, I'm never going to do this again. And the rule and the principle that I've learned, again, this is my 3rd bull run, okay? So I remember the first one as I was watching it go all the way up and all the way down. My second one where I was in it, I watched it go all the way up and all the way down. And this is the 3rd one. And so I know what to expect this time, that it's likely we will have a big increase and then a drop down. And drops down in Bitcoin, so we've had 70% drawdowns, and so if we had a 70% drawdown in Bitcoin, MicroStrategy would be more. So you just got to be ready for stuff like this and look at this stuff from a long term, right? It sounds all good when we're looking in the short term of like, wow, I could make 100% this year, and I have on all this stuff. I made way more than 100%. So you could look at it and go, wow, I could get in now, and the potential is 100% from here. The potential is even 200% from here. But if you're not willing to ride it down and hold it and watch those things go up and go down, then you should definitely get educated before you make any decisions to invest in this stuff. Okay. And then, you decide what percentage of your portfolio you want to put in, like BlackRock, if at any, I'm not recommending you invest anything, but I would look at it as a newbie and go, hey, what percentage should I be looking at right now? BlackRock recommends on Bitcoin, it made a formal announcement between 1% and 2% of somebody's portfolio. So BlackRock, the largest financial institution in the world, is saying, yeah, there should be a 1 to 2% position of Bitcoin. I mean, that's a 180 from a year to 2 years ago. Nobody was talking about that. And now they're talking about a 1 to 2% position. I'm way more than 1 to 2%. I'm a Bitcoin maximalist and MicroStrategy maximalist and also Tesla. And so I like to know something about what I invest in. I study the heck out of it. I understand it, and then I hold it and I bet on it and I roll. So hope this serves you. Hope this helps you. And I'll be back next week to show you how I did on my trade, to show you if I made money on the trade or lost money on the trade. I think I'll make money on the trade. So I'll let you know. All right. Stay tuned, and hope you have a great holiday weekend, and enjoy yourself. Talk to you soon.